Alright, real quick, I was just gonna go over all the stuff in my Weakaura package that I did here. It's this one right here, the T23 Jaina Mythic Bitterst edit. That's what it all looks like animated. I mean, you can move the whole package around, but it's made to be, centered. Zero this quick. Alright, so I'm just gonna go through like one by one in case you need to like fix something in like particular. All right, so these first two, left boat timer, right boat timer, these just show up to tell you like when the boats are about to spawn in phase one. The Corsair ballistas left to shoot. That's for the ballista people. Reload timer. That's for them too. This is the watch your feet thing for when the fire starts spawning in phase one. Bombs. This is how many bombs are remaining. Alright, people in range and gathering blizzard bar. This is just the number of people around you and the normal gathering blizzard bar. It's the same one that has like the number that increases, and it has the tick marks for like when you need 3 people and 5 people. Freezing blood. This is green now, but same idea. The circle when you're not in range of people. I changed it to green just so that it's a little bit more visible. It's like if you're, near fire or something. This is just the avalanche spawns, so I guess for tanks in the other phases, well, in any of the phases, but for all the DPS in phase 1. These two Jaina big icons, they're specific, so if you get diamond, this is only going to show up if you have diamond and you have avalanche. So it'll be this big icon up here, or if you have circle and avalanche, it'll show up over here. So just to show you to go to left side of the boat or right side of the boat for the ranged at least. Just the Ring of Ice cast bar in phase 1, Freezing Blast cast bar. Alright, this one here, Howling Winds graphic modifier, it just puts a little text thing down here, but that's irrelevant. What this does is, whenever Howling Winds happens, so whenever the boss is either at like 100 energy, or when we're in the phase 2 intermission, it sets weather to 0, and also turns contrast to 95. Let me just show you what that looks like real quick. This will make it, it makes everything look a bit darker, and it's supposed to help see the rings of the ice orbs a little easier. And this will like instantly go away when you don't, when that isn't happening, so you don't have to like turn it on and off. It'll happen by itself during that part of the fight. It'll go, so like during the rest of the fight, it'll go back to the like default 50 contrast. Icebound image line to nameplate. This is like the purple lines to the ads while we're running around during the first intermission. An exploding ordnance helper. This is going to put an icon over the 3 barrels in phase 2, and it'll be a blue icon over the barrel while it's still frozen, and then it'll be glowing while broadsides are out, and if it's broken, then it'll change to the red icon that it's vulnerable. Bait Glacial Ray, that just tells you, when to bait. Glacial Ray cast bar, and I just put the non-mythic barrel explosion timer here as well, but yeah, timers for those. Siegebreaker Blast. This one can overlap with other things, so it's at a slightly different spot, but this is just when the damage is going to come in from the Siegebreaker Blast, as well as who it's on. The target of it, which would be right there next to the name. Icefall Ink, this is just when Icefall is going to start like when the circle with the arrow spawns is when the icon will show up, and then when the timer runs out is when it will start shooting across the room. Cancel Lust. This one triggers once you've had Lust for 25 seconds from any of the Lust sources, so any Lust drums, Time Warp, or Pet Lust, or whatever. So once you've had it for 25 seconds, it'll tell you to cancel Lust, and that's when you click your macro. This one, Heart of Frost on you. This, when the add in the second phase, or I guess second phase, like the second intermission, it'll target you first right before it actually puts the debuff on you that makes you start splashing people. So as soon as you get targeted, you want to start moving out as soon as that icon pops up. Siegebreaker target. Fixing where those are supposed to be in the package, but whatever, it'll still work. If you're the target of Siegebreaker Blast and you have the debuff, this icon will also show up here. This one will show up for everyone, but the target one will only show up if it's on you. And the same thing with Broadside, if it's on you, the little icon will show up. Alright, so yeah, it's Heart of Frost. If it's on you, that'll show up first. Then this one is the Heart of Frost ticks. That one will have the actual timer of when it times out. This one here is also Heart of Frost. Yeah, I know it's a lot of Heart of Frost things, but this one also has the timer for Heart of Frost, but it also shows if you're safe and not near, like not going to splash on anyone. And if you are too close to people, it'll have a list of the names of the people that are too close to. Well, I guess that you're too close to. This anchors interrupt order to Jaina's Tide Elementals. This one is the one that puts the interrupt icon, or the like a number above the elemental for the interrupt order. For this, everyone's going to need to go in and go to custom options on this Weakaura and set your interrupt number. So just a slider bar to 0, or to 1, 2, or 3, or just 0 if you're backup, depending on what you're assigned to. Crystalline Dust, this is just when the frontal timer, like when the boss is going to do the frontal cone thing, so when that times out, make sure you're not in front of the boss. Chilling Touch Announcer, this is just going to say above your head when you're at like 18 or above stacks. I don't think it's really going to be needed for Mythic, but I guess when we're nearing the end, if we are, like, if the boss isn't dead and we're getting there, some people can know like when to start using their immunities or something if they aren't catching it to that point. And then finally, these are in here right now. I'm not sure if we're going to be using them at all, but these are the 2 teleprompter Weakauras for Phase 2 and Phase 3. It'll show up. I'll go to like the Phase 2 one, for example. What's going to show is like at a certain time, it's going to show like, so at right when we start, right when we interrupt the boss, it's going to say like P2 starts. And it's going to have what it expects the boss's health to be after that. So it'll be like P2 starts, and it's going to basically expect the boss's health to be around at like 60.1%, which obviously it would be at the start of Phase 2. And then as that goes on, it's going to show you like what the next thing that's going to happen is going to be. So then Broadside and Ray, then Barrel 1 dies, then Broadside 2, which gets taken over to the next to the second barrel, etc. It's going to kind of tell you what's going to be happening in the fight. But it's going to have some numbers after it, and they're going to be either red or green. That's based on like the raid's current DPS. So if we're if we're behind on DPS of what we're expected to be, the number will be in red. But if we're like pushing ahead faster, it'll be in green. Yeah, and then there's also one for the Phase 3 things. Well, Alright, that's everything right now. It might get edited. I won't update this video, but if you have any questions, just let me know.